Okay, so this is the Photomatix file out of out of the oven, and honestly, it's really way off the top for me. So I'm going to do some digital blending with the original exposure. So first, I'm going to add a bit of contrast just to see how it looks, because there was a lack of contrast. I mean, I like what's happening in the buildings, but I don't like what's happening here. Pretty ugly. And here the whole bottom part. Okay, so we're gonna need to change the bottom part of the photo. So let's see which one I'm gonna use. We have the choice between this one or the overexposed photo, but I think I'm gonna go for the overexposed photo, but it's just way too bright. So let's retouch this photo. For that, I'm gonna just make it a bit lower here. Voila, and maybe add a bit of clarity. And let's see this. And this, and maybe add a bit of saturation. Okay, so now I'm going to take the HDR photo, and then I'm going to take with Command key with the overexposed photo, right click and edit, open as layers in Photoshop. Same thing. So we open up Photoshop with two photos, each one on its own layer in one file. Okay, it's going to take a second, and we are ready to do our digital blending. So we have the HDR photo on top. If not, you can just move it around. And we have a bit of Photoshop job to do on it. We have to take care of this. This is due to the long exposure. So let's see. First, let's create a mask. Let's take a brush, as we did last time. 100% black is the color, white is the mask. Anything that I paint in black is going to disappear off the HDR, and it's going to take what's below that, which is the long exposure. Check that out. So we have a cool effect, and I'm also going to do it here and here. All right, so check it out. If you press the Shift key and click here on the mask, you can see before and after what the mask is doing. See, the mask is basically bringing in what was in this photo, and you can see also the before and after. And check it out. You see, let me zoom in on the building. This is without the HDR. This is with the HDR. See how the sky is much nicer with the HDR? It's and the buildings, we have more detail. It's kind of cool. If you think the HDR is too unreal, you can always lower the opacity and bring it back some more of the sky. But on this one, I'm going to keep it this way. I'm going for the crazy HDR look. And while I'm here in Photoshop, I'm happy with the blending of these two. So I'm going to select both layers and right click and merge visible, which is going to merge both of these layers. Okay, then I'm going to go here. I'm going to duplicate the layer, because I always duplicate the layer before. So to duplicate the layer, you just drag and drop it here. And I just want to clean up a bit the image here. So I'm going to go to the healing brush tool, Alt and Control key to make it bigger. And I'm just going to, sorry, it's not the healing brush tool, it's a spot healing brush tool. Okay, make a small one. And I'm just going to click here to clean that up. And I'm going to clean that up. And this up. Maybe here a little bit. Voila. And I think that's about it. That's about it. And on this one, so now I'm going to click File, Close, Save. It's going to re-import the photo into Lightroom, and I'm going to do one last little bit into Lightroom. So let's jump over to Lightroom, wait for it to update. There it is, there it is. And I'm going to go crazy on this one. I'm going to open up the shadows and bring down the highlight. And I'm going to press the Alt key, bring the white point up to the point like we did last time, until we see some little lights. And then I'm going to press the Alt key and bring back the blacks. Okay, so now we have, because I'm really going for a very strong effect, I'm going to add some contrast and maybe lower a little bit the exposure. Okay, there's a little bit too much orange for me in the building, so just a little bit. So I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to add some blue, which is the opposite of the warm here. And I'm just going to add a bit of blue in the buildings, a little bit here. Very subtle. Let me see the strengths. Okay, I'm going to put flow and density of my brush around 80. And I'm just going to add a little bit of blue here. just making this building a little bit more blue because I think there's too much yellow in them. Let me see before and after. Not a big change, not a huge change. Okay, now this whole part here, I don't like it so much because this green, I think it's pretty ugly. So one way to make things disappear is to create a new brush. I'm going to go to exposure. I'm going to minus exposure. I'm just going to brush, just going to darken this part here. Maybe it's a bit too much, but I don't want too much attention on this part. Okay, that's too much. I'm going to, voila. Okay. And that's about it. Let's see, before the brush, after the brush. So we just added a little blue in the building. And close, so we really have like a bluer feeling. And maybe to wrap things up, so I'm going to go into post-crop vignetting and add a post-crop vignetting effect. So it's darkening everything else but that. And maybe not make it so dark. I'm going to make the exposure back down to 0. Something like this, yeah, or plus 15. Okay, and that's about it. I like this photo. It's very HDR, very saturated, but I don't know. It's just, for me, it's a pretty powerful image. Let me show you the before. So that's the before photo. That's the underexpose, and that's the overexpose, and that's the final photo with this entire workflow. And voila, hope you like this one, and let's jump into another project.